Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Irie here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this is going to be the Combat Series episode number 129 for you guys today. And to kick off the Combat Series this week, I'll be sharing my fight prediction for this weekend's fight taking place in the sport of boxing between Cruz and Lamont Roach. So, at the super lightweight division, we will see Cruz defend his WBC interim super lightweight title against Lamont Roach in the main event of the PBC card happening this weekend in the sport of boxing. So these are the following storylines that I have for this interim WBC super lightweight championship fight. Starting off with storyline number one, the winner of this fight could honestly be crowned the WBC super lightweight champion. Now this is for the interim title, and Cruz has had the interim WBC title for a little bit now, but the person who actually holds the WBC lightweight title at 140, Matias, is actually scheduled to have a fight in January to defend his title. But that could be all up in the air because Matias tested positive for Ostarine a month ago before his title defense that he's going to have in January, which is not a good look. So the WBC is going to evaluate more into Matias's positive test for Ostarine, which is a legal banned substance in the sport of boxing. We all know that Ryan Garcia tested positive for that. For those that don't know how dangerous Ostarine is in the sport of boxing, the WBC could eventually strip Matias of the WBC super lightweight title. And we know if a champion vacates the title moving up in weight, or for whatever reason is no longer the champion, the interim champion is always elevated to become the main champion. So long story short, the winner of this fight between Cruz and Lamont Roach could be elevated to become the new WBC super lightweight champion. So that it makes this fight even more important Saturday heading into the PBC pay-per-view event. Next storyline is, can Cruz prove he's here to stay at 140? Now he's had a pretty solid run at 140. This is going to be his fourth fight. He has a record of 3-1 since moving up to 140, former lightweight in his own right. He's 4-1 at this division. Became a world champion actually in the spring of 2024, where he defeated Rolly Romero to become the the WBA super lightweight champion Easter weekend in the sport of boxing back in 2024. Then lost the title to Jose Valenzuela later on that year in the summer in his first title defense. But then he had a big, impressive victory against Angel Ferrero earlier on in the year on that David Benavidez and David Morrell fight card. And honestly, he's in the conversation, in my opinion, for being fight of the year. And he had an impressive victory in the month of July. So he is 3-1 at this division, interim WBC super lightweight champion. We're going to see if Cruz is here to stay at this 140-pound division. And the final storyline before I get to tail of the tape, can Lamont Roach continue on his impressive run in the sport of boxing? Now, for casuals out there, a lot of people never heard of Lamont Roach until that Gervonta Davis fight. But for someone like myself that follows the sport very heavy, as I get tongue-tied, very heavy, Lamont Roach has had an impressive run. Became world champion back in late 2023. We defeated Hector Garcia to win the WBA title, the junior title at 130. Then, honestly, earlier in the year, should have defeated Gervonta Davis by split decision, but it was ruled a majority draw. But this guy became a star overnight. Now he's in a big spotlight and looking to become a two-division world champion. Someone that started at 130 is in position to become possibly a two-division world champion here at 140. So we're going to see if Lamont Roach can continue this impressive run that he's went on in the sport of boxing. But enough of the storylines. Let's get to the tail of the tape here. My tail of the tape, starting up with the challenger, Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is 25-1-2 in his boxing career, 25 victories, 1 loss, 2 draws to his boxing resume. 10 victories come way of knockout. Currently the reigning defending WBA junior lightweight champion, stands at 5'7" with a reach of 68 inches. Then I'm looking at the interim champion here, Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz is 28-3-1, 28 victories, 3 losses, 1 draw to his boxing resume. 18 victories come away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending interim WBC super lightweight champion, stands at 5'4" with a reach of 63 inches. So the height and the reach goes in favor of the challenger, Lamont Roach. We're going to see if he can use that to his advantage when these two respective fighters get in the ring with each other. So these are the following game plans that I have for each fighter to follow if they want to walk out of San Antonio, Texas with that coveted interim WBC Super Lightweight Championship. Starting off with the interim champion, Isaac Cruz. I think Isaac Cruz is going to have to walk down Lamont Roach. His bread and butter, that Mexican style that Isaac Cruz possesses, is always walk his opponents down. He always wants the fight coming forward, be in control of the fight, and it's a signature style. If you guys watch Cruz over the years, that's all he does in the ring. His signature style is to cut the ring off, and I think he should do that, keep his head low, keep his head on a swivel, and aim to, when he has his head low and he's cutting off the ring, fighting Lamont Roach coming forward, he should keep his head low and land the power shots. You can land the power hook shots to the body, to the head. I think Isaac Cruz should do that. And he's also good at slipping in uppercuts as well when he's fighting in the inside, walking his opponents down. And Lamont Roach could have his chin down at a time, and Isaac Cruz come in with a powerful uppercut. I think that'd be very pivotal for him in his offensive approach against Lamont Roach. Next, I think Isaac Cruz should use the lunging hook. Now, what I mean by the lunging hook, that sounds funny saying it, but if you guys watch Isaac Cruz, when his opponent's jab, and Lamont Roach is going to use a jab because he has a stiff, mean jab to keep his opponents off of him. So when the jab comes in to Isaac Cruz in this fight, I think Isaac Cruz needs to duck his head, and what he does when the jab comes, he ducks his head and lunges forward with the huge hook, the huge lunge hook shot that lands to the body or the head, and he depends on that power coming from his legs. That's how much leg power that Isaac Cruz has, a powerful puncher in his own right. But when he ducks low and then lunges, and it's like a Superman punch if you guys watch a WWE in a way, paying homage to Roman Reigns. But it's hard to explain, but if he ducks and then comes in with the lunging hook shot, he finds success landing to the body, to the head, to wobble and stun his opponents. And he's done it time in and time out. Ask Rolly Romero. That was one of the ways that he earned that knockout victory back in the spring of 2024. And last but not least, I think Isaac Cruz should make this a phone booth fight. If he can make this a phone booth fight, this could be interesting for him and could go in a way of him winning this fight. He has to go back to the point I just said a few moments ago. Commit to walking down Lamont Roach. You commit to walking down Lamont Roach, and you have Lamont Roach boxing off the back foot. You could be in store to make this fight a phone booth fight. And then you have complete control offensively of this fight. Fighting on the inside is going to be very pivotal for Isaac Cruz. He has to box smartly. If you fight the whole entire fight with the same offensive style for 12 rounds, it ain't going to work. And Lamont Roach is eventually going to figure you out. So you cannot get frustrated if things don't go well. Just make the adjustments. Make it a phone booth fight. And you can't be upset with the way how Lamont Roach is going to be defensively in this fight. So I think if Isaac Cruz can follow those game plans, he has a good chance of successfully retaining his interim WBC Super Lightweight title. Now, as for Lamont Roach, game plans for Lamont Roach, I think Lamont Roach has to win the counterpunching battle. Overall, watching the film and watching these fighters over the years, I think Lamont Roach is the faster fighter. I think he's the faster fighter between himself and Cruz. He likes to stand in the pocket. Lamont Roach is someone that doesn't duck the squabble, doesn't duck the smoke. He will stand in the pocket to break his opponents down with his counter-punching. And that is something that makes Lamont Roach a unique fighter here in the sport of boxing. He has the perfect shoulder roll with the straight shot. If the shoulder roll, doing the shoulder roll, then you come in with the straight shot, that's something that Lamont Roach has done time in and time out perfectly. And I think that could work against Isaac Cruz, who is a very flat-footed fighter, does not have the best footwork. And when he gets hit with shots, when Isaac Cruz gets hit with shots, he finds himself not frustrated, but his footwork is not the best. So when he's hit with punches, he wobbles back a little bit, and he has to reset his feet in order to be flat-footed in the ring again. So I think this could be a really good strategy for Lamont Roach, as he knows he's going to have to fight off the back foot at times when Isaac Cruz is coming in. Perfect shoulder roll with the straight shot to make Isaac Cruz reset his feet, and then you could go in and land some counter shots and some power shots to possibly hurt Isaac Cruz and wow the judges on the judges' scorecards. Next, I think Lamont Roach has to be alert defensively. If he's not alert defensively, he could be in a world of trouble. But I do think Lamont Roach is an underrated defensive fighter here in the sport of boxing. When Cruz is looking to land the big shots coming in, Lamont Roach is going to be on his game, on his P's and Q's defensively. He did a good job against Gervonta Davis, who is one of the most powerful knockout artists that we've seen in recent memory in the sport of boxing. He does a good job defensively with the neck movement, and the neck movement's going, with the Philly shell and the shoulder roll. This could open the door for Lamont Roach to land the stiff counter shots against Cruz in this fight. And last but not least, I think Lamont Roach has to let his hands fly. Now, he doesn't have knockout power, but he has enough power to keep his opponents off him, and his opponents respect his power as the fight goes on. It's good, and if he could do that, he has a good chance of mixing in his punches. He has a good arsenal of offensive punches that he can land on his opponents. The overhand right, I think he has a good overhand right shot. The stiff mean jab to keep his opponents off of him. And the check left hook. It ain't no Ryan Garcia check left hook. It ain't no Brian Norman Jr. check left hook. But it's a mean check left hook to make his opponents respect his power. And I think he should do that against Cruz, that's going to relentlessly fight coming forward and give the same type of style the whole entire fight as long as the fight lasts. Moving around swiftly in different lateral movements, I think that's another bonus that Lamont Roach has over Cruz. Having the better footwork, being in better control of the fight when he is fighting in different lateral movements. I think he should let the hands fly, and he should have success against Cruz if he follows those game plans. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Lamont Roach to defeat Cruz by unanimous decision to become the new WBC interim super lightweight champion. Now, I do believe that Cruz is going to be outboxed by Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is going to put on a masterclass performance, and I honestly think, a quick comparison, this fight is going to be similar to how Devin Haney handled Brian Norman Jr. a weekend ago in the sport of boxing. I think Lamont Roach is going to win the counter-punching battle. I think he's going to mix in the stiff jab. I think Lamont Roach has a beautiful jab. Not saying he has one of the best jabs in the sport, but it's something that his opponents respect. And he has enough power. He doesn't have knockout power, but he has enough power to make his opponents back up and respect the power that he is willing to dish out in the ring. I think he's going to lead with the stiff jab, the check left hook shot. That's a powerful shot like Lamont Roach has in his arsenal, in his toolbox. He's definitely going to use that against Cruz. That's going to be very dangerous, trying to walk down Lamont Roach, and Lamont Roach is going to be boxed on his back foot. I think the check left hook is going to come in several times to play against Cruz to frustrate him offensively. But I think Lamont Roach is going to be alert defensively. I think he's an underrated defensive fighter, and I seen it against Gervonta Davis, and I've seen it over the years. He fights in the Philly shell and in the high guard. He does a really good job in the Philly shell and the high guard, being alert defensively, blocking his opponent's best shots out with that defensive style that he possesses. So I think Cruz is just going to get frustrated. He's going to make too many mistakes. And if this fight is in the pocket, I got my money on Lamont Roach. Even though Cruz is the more powerful, dangerous power puncher, I think Lamont Roach can make him pay in the pocket. We just seen him do that against Gervonta Davis. I think Gervonta Davis is clearly a better boxer than Cruz. I think Lamont Roach is really going to have a really strong performance and put everybody on notice from 130, 135, 140 to show that he's here to stay and a new superstar has been born in the sport of boxing. I think he's going to become the new interim WBC super lightweight champion in the sport of boxing. And that's my prediction for this weekend's fight between Lamont Roach and Cruz.